Welcome to the Nausea River podcast. I'm Theo Morgan, and I'm back from my extended summer gloom vacation. I'd have cried if I didn't spend the whole time being a hanger-on for Tears from a Grieving Heart, who had one of their best sets, by the way. I bring up summer gloom not just because we'll be talking to one of the performers from Friday this year, sorry for the spoilers, but because the festival recognizes how heavy music is a broad umbrella. That putting the Keening and Body Void next to each other in a lineup really works, though I also don't think my body was ready for it. And it recognizes the strong bonds between metal and folk music. Some of it is vibes, minor key songwriting, and macabre themes, but really, I'm just talking about that period of time where the Metal Archives allowed you to submit straight-up neo-folk bands to the site. With conditions, of course, but it was under the guise of certain bands being part of the metal scene despite what they played. Wardruna is probably like the biggest example of those. And the site is run by humans with normal biases, and that's where they drew the line, instead of loosening up on what metalcore could be submitted or whatever. Such an exception no longer exists on the site. If it did, they'd definitely have a band page for Emma Ruth Rundle. Maybe one for a band who did a solid cover of her stuff. I'm just rambling, trying to fill time for introducing our guest. Let's just cut to the chase. So, we'll start with introductions. I'm Theo. Who are you?
I am Keith McCurdy. Do I describe myself or?
Yeah, describe yourself a bit.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I'm a singer-songwriter from a gothic folk ensemble called Vudu Sister in Providence, Rhode Island.
Meet Keith McCurdy, the main guy behind the folk trio Vudu Sister. Sandwiched between Tears from a Grieving Heart and Lepra during Summer Gloom, they brought a lush performance to the Crystal Ballroom. I'm just happy that Steve and company found a nice venue this year, especially one with impeccable sound, but I also won't pretend that's a particularly natural place to hear funeral doom or black metal or straight-up grindcore. Vudu Sister fit better, filling the space with cello and baritone guitar, the spotlight making Keith look like an angel. But the real reason he's on the show is because he recognized me when I was eyeing their merch table. I guess I followed him on one of my social media accounts, and also forgot I did. Whoops. It's all cool, though. He was a very easy guy to befriend. This might be yet another foray into a different genre and topic, but fuck it, we're all brothers and sisters in music, playing at the same dive bars. I hope you enjoy. Anything else of note in your career?
Oh well, good lord. Where to start? I've been playing music for 20 plus years, and I started out fronting rock bands for the first 10, and then, first 10 years, and then I started Vudu Sister in 2011.
Okay, I would not have guessed 20 years looking at your face.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the elven blood.
Yeah, exactly. So how did Vudu Sister come to be?
Well, I started Vudu Sister out of frustration from, you start a band when you're a kid and you got big dreams, and then you got that Four Musketeers mentality with other people and, other younger people. And then as you get older and, time goes on, people's priorities change and bands fall apart and whatever. And because I would just sing, the songs would often be very collaborative. So I would be left alone and having to start from scratch again. So after a while, I was just like, I'm just going to start writing my own songs that I can play solo if I have to, or with a band if not. And that's essentially how it started. And picking up acoustic guitar was primarily an economic issue, because it's like, oh, well, I can, like I said, I can play solo. And it was largely informed by having grown up on grunge and like watching MTV Unplugged and like listening to those early Mark Lanigan records like The Winding Sheet or Whiskey for the Holy Ghost.
Mm-hmm. Good taste there, I'll say that.
Oh, thanks.
I really miss Mark Lanigan.
I know.
I got introduced to him the way that I guess slightly younger people do through Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah, oh, sure.
Yeah, because every song I really loved from Queens of the Stone Age turned out to be a Mark Lanigan song.
Yeah. I mean, he was fantastic. I mean, what a voice. And But I really love those early records. I mean, his whole career was astonishing,
Hmm.
and the stuff he had done with the Screaming Trees and things like that. I mean, I'm wearing a Sub Pop shirt,
Oh
so
shit.
like that's kind of the bread and butter for me. It's like everybody. I feel like everybody has their stuff that they're very knowledgeable about in terms of like music, and I feel like for me, it's like the grunge stuff and the early Sub Pop artists.
Yeah. Just to expand on the whole like economical thing, since you play an acoustic guitar, what does that mean equipment wise? Because I talk to a lot of metal bands and I have to hear about people's pedals and cabs and all that stuff. So what does it look like for you on the other side of it?
Well, um, I started doing full-time music. Like I play a lot of money gigs and stuff to just like make a living.
Hmm.
So I started doing that like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But I mean, before then, I'm working terrible jobs, getting
Hmm.
hired and fired to supplement my income. So it was just important for me to be as flexible as possible. I have done electric since I started Voodoo Sister, and I am curious about exploring using pedals and stuff like that. One of my major influences in the last 5 or 6 years has been people like Emma Ruth Rundle or like Chelsea Wolfe,
Hmm.
who like these are heavy artists. They play you know dark heavy music, but they'll often do things that are very stripped down, and that's been like very refreshing to me to see that there's other people doing it and there's an audience for that and so forth.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm familiar with them, of course, but I was shocked to see just like how many metal festivals will book Emma Ruth Rundle.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think like in a vacuum, I wouldn't have expected it, but it makes a lot of sense the more you look at it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because I mean, if you're really paying attention, this is what really made me so impressed by Steven and the team doing Summer Gloom was like, oh, okay, these people really get it. Like, I think I saw Kira McSpice say something about how it the idea of dark and heavy music is
Mhm.
transcendent of genre, and how there's an emotional weight to it or whatever. And I've noticed that too with someone like Emma Ruth Rundle. It's like it seems like her audience is primarily like the metal community, and
Yeah,
I think that's really cool. It's like, oh, you're paying attention to the lyrical content and understanding that even sonically, there's so much more out there. Like I started playing acoustic baritone guitar, and it really gives the sound a lot of body. And we started playing with a cellist maybe a few years ago, and that's given a lot of low end. And to me, that gives it a lot of weight.
yeah, because like on stage at Summer Gloom, especially in the Crystal Ballroom, like having the cello and violin just like really filled the space in a very special way.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
and I don't know how I think I mean, it would have sounded good anywhere, but like I've also seen Summer Gloom at the Armory where that stuff will just echo off the ceiling and sound not as quite as good.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm glad it worked out that way. It really, I mean, I was up on stage, so I'm not sure how it sounded outside, but
Yeah,
or
I
from the
wasn't
crowd.
up close.
Yeah.
Because I messed up. I missed like the first song because I was out during my friend's smoke break. So I came back in, couldn't get up front, but like from the back, everything sounded perfect. And every act I was up front for that weekend also sounded perfect. But it could be very intense because there are some bands that really do play loud.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like you're not going to be Body Void or a Monolithic Dome, I'm
No, but
afraid.
but I feel that we've done this before, and what I'm noticing, and this is a big reason why I'm glad to be able to have been like welcomed and embraced so much
Hmm.
in that community. Is that I feel like we've played shows where we're sandwiched in between some like louder bands who are
Hmm.
kind of more traditional in the sense of what that means, but and I feel like it's worked out well. And for us, a lot of the lyrical content, or even like the kind of modalities that I use when I write my songs. It's like, it's very melancholy stuff, and some of it's very macabre and morbid or whatever. So
Hmm. Yeah, because thematically, I think you fit in well with like what I want from metal. I think especially someone who had a big gothic metal kick in
yes,
my as a
yeah,
teenager.
yeah.
Um, have you played? How many metal bands have you played with? Because I've looked at your show itinerary, and you are playing live a lot.
Yeah, well, gotta pay the bills.
Hmm.
What a way to do it, huh?
Yeah.
But well, I mean, this has kind of been well, I mean, I'm always looking for a new sound when I'm writing new songs, something that interests me, and the sound's definitely evolved over the years. But so this is kind of a relatively recent phenomenon. I think mostly because um, it's been difficult to really sort of challenge the notion of what you can do with a bill like that. Um, Not for Summer Gloom, obviously, but for other smaller, more local
Hmm.
shows. And it's like, I'm like, no, no, we're very comfortable playing with heavier bands. I really do think the audience will like it. Because I'm not playing like kumbaya shit. I think people see
Hmm.
acoustic guitar and they just assume, oh, Campfire and whatever the fuck, Woody Guthrie. And that's great stuff. But it's like, no, we're kind of like, you know, I mean, like, for example, like this recent single we put out, The
Hmm.
Valley. It's like we're taking notes from, like, I don't know, the Bram Stoker's Dracula soundtrack or whatever.
Hmm.
I mean, there's almost a classical element. I mean, I choose to play with classical musicians for a reason. Um, so I think it gives it this sort of gothic depth that pairs well with like a metal band or darker, heavier, louder bands.
Hmm.
So basically, it's definitely a realm that I'm very keenly interested in, because I do feel like, oh, these are more our people, and I think they'll actually understand what we're trying to do and
Hmm.
embrace us. We've been paired with some odd choices in the past, and no disrespect to it, but
Hmm.
it's like, where do we go to find fans that are actually going to fall in love with this? And like, it's, that's always a challenge, I think, with any artist, is finding
Hmm.
your audience. And I mean, you can't really control it either.
Yeah. What kind of reaction have you gotten being paired with heavier bands? I guess Summer Gloom notwithstanding.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely that one, because I do feel like, man, there wasn't a bad attitude in the room. And
Yeah.
I think people are so sweet over there. And I did feel very welcome. We
Hmm.
played Necronomicon a couple of times. That's a convention in Providence.
Okay, that tracks.
What's that?
That tracks. Like there's like Providence has a lot of horror themed stuff.
Yeah, it's a small but very passionate community, and
Yeah.
I've been wanting to do something with them for a long time. So when we finally played, it was the reception was very good,
Hmm.
and yeah, it just definitely reinforces the feeling of like belonging in that kind of culture, and it's definitely relieving, and it feels good.
Yeah. Like I can only speak for Summer Gloom, but if you're a Summer Gloom regular, you're used to the random folk or post rock act.
Yeah,
Like I saw Voodoo Sister and the Keening on the bill, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds like something Steve would do. And
yeah,
like last year you mentioned Kira McSpice. Her set was phenomenal.
yeah. She's extraordinary.
Yeah, her like she was in like the side room at the Armory, the cafe, and it was one of the most transcendental experiences of my life.
Another act that I think has played it many times, that I think, and they're based in Providence now, at
Hmm.
least, is Lucy Devlin, who is
Yeah,
extraordinary.
yeah, I forgot about them.
Yeah,
Um,
phenomenal. But
yeah,
that's
'cause
and they have a band, Trophy Hunt, that
mhm.
is like more straight up, like just in your face, like loud, abrasive, and it's an awesome. I like the duality of someone that's be able to do both.
Yeah,
Uh, and
it took me a bit to figure out that it's this that both of those bands were Lex.
yeah, yeah.
I
Lux
had
is,
I
and what
had
Lux does solo is like, it's gorgeous, and it's
mhm.
very full, but it's also, it's got this creepy quietness to it as well. And I mean, Stevens had Marissa Nadler play at Summer Bloom and things like
Hmm.
that. So there's definitely a home for this that in that realm. Um, and but it's dark stuff. It's the themes are very uncomfortable, and I also think like there's also just the aesthetic of like I'm pretty sure we all love horror movies,
Hmm.
and there's different subgenres of horror. So it's like I always joke that I want to make music that's like the musical equivalent of an A24 horror film. You know,
No,
um,
I got those vibes.
yeah.
Um, yeah, since we mentioned Providence, it it isn't. I'm not like super familiar with the Providence scene, but I go down there sometimes. But regardless, like it's an interesting place. It's a much smaller city than Boston. I feel like I see a lot of the same people in Boston, anyways. But to you, what makes Providence and Rhode Island unique as a scene?
Oh God. Well, talk about Providence. Well, I mean, Providence's music scene is very interesting. I've seen it oscillate. It's like there's times where it's so weird and um it's just like it's unpredictable types of music. I know we're very big on noise and
Hmm.
Providence we're kind of known for it, like lightning balls or like tinsel teeth and stuff.
Hmm.
Um
Yeah, like even your metal is noise because you have the body.
yeah, yeah, very much. And like they just had the Scurvy Dog parking lot show, and that's always a very mixed show,
Hmm.
mixed genre show, which is wonderful. Um, Unfortunately, recently it's been kind of tough because we've been losing a lot of venues. I
Yeah.
think the same thing's been going on in Boston, but it's just a bigger city, so there's still more options. But that makes things very challenging because we've lost a lot of good mid-sized places. But yeah, it's very strange. Small city, and people don't want to travel very far. It's like if it's on the other side of town, they won't go. But yeah, I've seen the scene kind of odd. The community sort of oscillate where it's like, oh, it's vibrant. It's very things are happening, and then there's kind of a lull, and then it comes back, and you know. But it's at the same time, you know, we all love to pick on each other, but then it's like there's an immense amount of local pride, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah. What's your favorite band to come out of Providence?
Um, in terms of people who are active now, Alec Redfern's pretty legendary. He used to do the Amoebic Ensemble, and the Eyesores were pretty big. He's been doing a project SWRM lately. It's sort of synth based. I'm not too into the synth stuff, but Alec Redfern's an incredible composer.
Hmm.
I loved the band called Bad Man. They put out a song, this was years ago. They had a song called Beware of the Road. And it was like, to me, the coolest song that I've ever heard of uh, coming from anyone from Providence. And of course, I really love what Lux does. That's Lucy Devlin and Trophy Hunt. And I keep missing their shows because it's always at the worst time where I'm playing a gig. So
Hmm.
hopefully I'll remedy that soon.
Yeah, I think like every Lucy Devlin show I've been aware of has been like on a random Tuesday. And like whether it's in Boston or Providence, I'm just like, nah, not during the work week.
Yeah, yeah, it's tough. I mean, and also like I'm a working musician, so it's like, oh, I'm like always gigging and I can't
Yeah.
shows, but um there's a couple of and there's some upcoming bands like Car Girlfriend, which is good friends of mine, and they're really all over the place. They're a heavier band. They'll punk, they'll do metal, they'll do all kinds of stuff, and they're very energetic and wonderful and sweet. Um and their frontman Garrett is actually a very charismatic frontman, and he goes on stage in a ripped up trench coat, and he's way better at stage banter than me. I'll say that. And then there's China Bootleg, and they're incredible. They do. I mean, they're involved in a lot of projects like Sire and Harpy, which Harpy is extraordinary, but it's a very much a performance art and can't really pin it down. It's very controversial, and it totally subverts a lot of the art form, and um, they're a very smart person.
Cool. Since you mentioned venues, what's the venue in Providence you miss the most, and what's your favorite one that's still up and running?
Excellent question. There was a place called Aurora that was very short-lived. It was downtown.
Hmm.
Great room, great big room. And they would put together extraordinary bills, and people would come out a lot. And I missed that place terribly. Um, and one that I like now, well, I mean, ASD20 is still kicking, and they're great, and they're an important part of the city. Yeah. Otherwise, Myrtle, Myrtle in East Providence, if that counts.
I'll count anything.
What's that?
I'll count anything on here.
Well,
So,
Myrtle's just outside the actual city, but it's in
okay.
East Providence, so I guess that counts.
Wait, is it in Pawtucket?
No, no, no. I
Okay,
think
so
Machines at Magnus, which also is mostly a recording studio, but they do shows, and they're
yeah,
very good.
I think I had to drive. I think my dad had to catch a show there, and I didn't want to go. So my mom and I were like, "Fine, we'll just get dinner."
Oh, Machines is a good space.
Yeah.
It's yeah, they don't do shows too often, but they're usually highly curated when they do, and they pull it off very well.
Yep.
Myrtle has been it's a more recent venue. I think last couple of years. I think it's opened 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And I love Tommy and Natalie, and they've treated us very well. And it's a nice little boutique sort of venue. And yeah, it's a very good venue. I know Steve Brodsky's played there many times in Cape,
Okay.
and yeah, um, so I like them a lot.
All right. That's that's really good to know because I interview so many like Boston people, and occasionally like other New England states. I don't hear enough about Providence, and I think that in a lot of ways Providence is a very underrated city.
Thank you. Yeah, I think we are too. Sometimes we get down on ourselves, but we're a nice, tight little feisty community. And one place I forgot to mention was Dusk, and Dusk is no longer
Hmm.
around, but that was kind of the place where you'd see heavy shows like metal bands and stuff. And yeah, it was a great place, and it was going strong for a long time. Unfortunately, we lost it, and that sucks.
Yeah, it was devastating because I feel like the losses in Boston that devastated me the most happened in 2020 for the reason you're thinking of. So
No.
like yeah, I can't be too broken up about well, I can still be broken up about Great Scott and Once, but in 2024 you lost Dusk and we lost Sammy's Patio,
Yeah,
which I know is in Revere, but you can get there on the T, so I'm gonna count it.
yeah, yeah. And I used to play Toad a lot in was it Cambridge?
Toad. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
I used to play there a lot. Yeah, used to go up there for that. Lizard Lounge, I think, still around. Played some shows there, and O'Brien's is good too.
Yeah, I'm for the time that we have O'Brien's, I'm gonna try to savor it. It's such a nice space.
Yeah,
I do I do like that it has the grit to be a metal venue, but is very welcoming to every genre essentially.
yeah. I played a show last year with Kira and Cradle of Judah and Backworld. That was great. I had a great time with that.
Yeah, that sounds like a great bill.
It was
Sad
a
to
it was an
sad to
awesome.
miss it.
Yeah. The Backworld's all of them. Cradle of Judah, Backworld. I think Cradle of Judah. I think it's primarily a solo project, but he occasionally has accompaniment. He was accompanied by this wonderful cellist, Eden, that night.
Yeah, because he recently performed at O'Brien's, like opening for 40 Watt Sun,
Yeah,
and he had Eden for that one as well.
yeah, yeah. I wish I could have gone to that
Me too.
when I saw that they
I
were doing
was
like
so tired.
you know because I was following that so that 40 Watt Sun was touring, and I don't know if it was for the whole thing, but there's another artist that I think might be from Seattle or Portland is Serpentin.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just amazing, just brilliant stuff. Um, Very gothic, but I guess they're calling some of the stuff neo folk, which what I don't know what that means, but it's sort of like I call it all like sort of esoteric whatever. I don't know. These
Yeah,
labels are always kind of convoluted, but
yeah, I have mixed feelings on the neo folk label. In
like
some way, I've
that
just
means
seen it. I've
folk.
just seen it used to mean like folk that like metalheads and goth people will like.
Yeah, again though, it's like, but this is never. It's not really a new thing. I mean, there's been heavy bands playing like sort of like yeah, like medieval whatever kind
Hmm.
of music since like Led Zeppelin, because then
Yeah.
Led Zeppelin would get stripped down and play acoustic guitars and play things that sound like they could be very at home in like 15th century England or something.
Hmm.
But so I don't know. But whatever it is, I like it a lot, and yeah. But yeah, that was a great bill, and Serpentant when I discovered them was extraordinary.
Yeah. But speaking of great bills, how was your experience playing Summer Gloom besides, audience reception? Because it seems like everyone really liked you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so I became aware of Summer Gloom maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and I
Hmm.
finally go last year, the night Black Pyramid played, and my friend Francesca, who's the violinist of Infinity Ring, they played. Um, yeah, which is funny. We actually went on tour in Europe last year after they played Roadburn.
Oh,
But
I'm gonna have to ask about that then. That's crazy.
yeah, yeah, we can talk. I'd be happy to talk about that. But so getting invited, and then I met Steven. Maybe I don't know if I met him I opened for the Keening last year in Providence and at Alchemy, and he was there,
Hmm.
and we got to chatting, and then like I got to know him a little and started talking about like just music, sharing music with each other, which is like I think is so important in life. And also he shares a passion for palace cats. We both like those creatures, and so and then he invited us to play, and I know it's a small festival. It's kind of a small boutique festival, but it feels like a big one.
Hmm.
It's like the level of professionalism and and just like the care and heart that goes into it. I was just really impressed by. I was impressed by it last year, but I didn't know. I didn't feel the behind the scenes stuff, and even the behind the scenes stuff this year when I got to play it was like they're on top of everything. I mean, quick and helpful and just hospitable and sweet, friendly, like, and just so much dedication. And it was great. I mean, it was a great experience.
Yeah, because I'm not in the musician camp, of course, but like I went to Summer Gloom last year, same day, same day as you. And like I didn't know anyone. I couldn't tell you if this was like some sneaky corporate sponsored thing. I didn't know who Steve was. Like the only band I knew was Oldest C, and like it's not like I knew them personally. And like
Yeah.
this year, like I count Steve as a friend. I had friends performing both Friday and Saturday who could tell me like, yeah, it's amazing being part of Summer Gloom.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think I got that feeling because like other alums of the fest like had told me like, oh, we love Steve, we love working with Steve.
Yeah. And
And
Jim,
most of the credit goes to Steve, but like I will shout out Erin,
yeah.
JJ. That was the only people.
Liz, the artwork,
Yeah, Liz.
she does a
I
great, she's in
yeah.
Glacier, and which is
Hmm.
also fucking amazing. And her artwork for it, I love these sort of very elegant, consistent style that she's developed for the show's visual
Hmm.
sort of theme or whatever. That's also another. I mean, just everything about it. Yeah, at the same time, you do get the sense is like this still feels DIY, but it feels
Hmm.
DIY with like this level of professionalism that other DIY festivals that are really fun. Just I haven't
Hmm.
seen. You know.
Yeah, I think you have to appreciate that. I mean, I know enough about Steve's life. Like he lives and breathes this stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's been a musician for eons.
Yeah.
Like like he works adjacent to the field, stuff like that.
I mean, you have to live and breathe this. I mean, I say this about playing music in general. This is not a smart path to choose in life. It's like, I want to support myself with my art, sure. But like, it's almost like it's not really a choice. To be a little romantic, it's like, it's kind of a calling. And I tell a lot of people, especially younger people, like, I don't want to give advice to anybody, but like, it's like, you have to be obsessed. You have to love this. It has to be something that like, if you're not doing this all the time, you're going to like be so unhappy and unfulfilled. And, you know, so I think doing anything in this field at all, whether it's actually performing or something adjacent to it, I think it's like you really have to love it. 'Cause otherwise it's like, I wouldn't do this. I actually saw, not to go on and on, but I'm a big fan of Orson Welles.
Okay.
And I always thought there's this wonderful clip from an interview where they ask him about regrets, and he's going on about how, like, these people, yeah, I have tons of regrets. And it's like, well, what's one of them? It's like falling in love with making movies, which of course the interviewer is taken so aback by, because this is like a big film giant. He's like, I would choose something that didn't take up so much time and money. And, I can't help this love that I have for this. And instantly resonant for me about like music.
Mhm. Yeah. To anyone listening who is waffling about being a musician, go into IT. You're going to work very reasonable hours for decent pay.
Yeah. But, I don't know. I mean, it's not for everybody, I don't think. But yeah. It's funny because I have a deep background in classics and studying Latin and Greek, and which is also, I wrote an album of songs in Latin and Greek. But there's the word, the word passion comes from, pati or pati passusum, and it means to suffer. For people who don't know that already, but we often think of passion as something that would, that consumes you, that you're in, something you love. But it also has this kind of root of meaning to suffer. And I think that makes a lot of sense.
Hmm. No, that's very that's a good way of looking at it. So you linked me to some new and upcoming singles. Do you want to hype up the new music you're releasing?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. The French champagne. Um, so we recorded a new album. I've taken this band in a new direction. Well, we've together with my team, uh, my violinist Diane and cellist Isabel.
Mhm.
We went into the studio this year with a bunch of new songs, and we've been starting to roll out singles since July, I think. And yeah, I'm very excited about them.
So, would you mind telling the audience about, I guess, pick a song and say like what it's about, what went into making it, what you want the listener to get from it.
So I'll pick the Valley, which is just well, we released the Valley the day before Summer Gloom. The
Mhm.
Valley, I'm playing acoustic baritone. I actually, it's one of the few songs in the album that I don't have my chord trio on. This is my friend playing upright bass, bowing it, and then a friend of mine, Silver Rain from Ithaca, New York, laid 3 cello tracks down.
Right.
It's probably the darkest, most evil song I've ever written. Very bleak. There's no hope in this song at all. It's about your home becoming a hell, which I initially wrote about personal turmoil. But I feel, and I love this about music, or when music does this, or art, is there's an applicability and it's multiplicity of meaning. And I think you can absolutely extrapolate it to topical things. I mean, I was on stage at Summer Gloom. I dedicated to the people of Palestine,
Mhm.
who have had to endure their home becoming a hell for the last, well, way more than 2 years. But yeah, there's a lot of mythic illusions in that song. I I'm not really much of a musician. I consider myself more of a literary person, and that's been my background for a long time. And I really like to inject those sorts of things, allusions, and so
Hmm.
forth into my work as a musician.
Cool. Yeah, I because like when I read, especially when I just like read your description of like your home becoming hell, I'm just like, yeah, that's about exactly what we're all thinking. It's about Palestine,
Yeah,
or about you know. But I think the flexibility of it, it'll keep it timeless because should the day come when Palestine like gets its autonomy and is able to, in sovereign status, like there's still going to be conflicts on Earth.
yeah, yeah. Well, and also even if you're dealing with something yourself in your own life,
Yeah.
like I mean, I come from a pretty like I mean, I came up pretty rough, and
Hmm.
I've dealt with a lot of struggles, and I mean, you could be dealing with drug addiction, and I think
Hmm.
yeah, I can still resonate. So, and I feel as though for me, writing something that is overtly political is very challenging, and I
Hmm.
think it takes a very good writer to handle that elegantly.
Hmm.
It's something that I've always wanted to do, but felt reluctant because I don't know if I can tackle that with the kind of poise and
Hmm.
subtlety that I think it requires to do it well.
Yeah, and I think it's different when you're playing folk music because I've definitely seen like hardcore and metal bands be very ham-fisted with what they want to say, but
Yeah,
it's okay. I'm not always expecting poetic. But I'm not like I don't expect everyone to be poetic in those
yeah,
genres. Um, but since you mentioned the Keening, their song "Hell Is a Mirror," that's a way to do it really poetically.
very much.
Yeah,
I think PJ Harvey did it really well with her Hope Six Demolition Project and Let England Shake.
yeah, that too.
Yeah. Um, but these are really mature writers. I mean, these are
Hmm.
people who think they're experienced.
Hmm.
They're not, amateurs. I mean, it depends on your priorities. Like I mean, there's people who do it and they're just right out of the gates and they have that raw intensity emotionally that really can carry it. But for me, it's just like, I just need to make sure the poetry is good and the work has to be good before the message, and then it for me it heightens the message. But that's not always the case for some people. But for me, the priorities have always just been like, is it a good song? As are the words good? Are they woven into the melody in a dignified way and things like that? That's I mean, I rarely, if ever, write lyrics first.
Okay, I was maybe I wasn't wondering, but now,
Say
but
certainly
I know
open
there are definitely
up
some
to a
people who
good.
write the lyrics first.
Yeah, I'm a melody person first. It's like, I don't think that's very uncommon. I think that's fairly common. But to me, it's just like, well, nothing is sacred until it is. And,
Mhm.
I'll usually catch a melody in my head for what I'll do with my voice. And then I'll just sing gibberish, and then the gibberish will form words that don't
Mhm.
make sense with one another. And then maybe a line, and then a line becomes a stanza. And then I'll start to figure out like, okay, now I know what I'm writing about. Of course, the sound or the modality can dictate that as well. Like is this a sad song or is this a triumphant song or whatever?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I rarely, if ever, write song lyrics first. Maybe like I'll have a line that I like.
Mhm.
Well, for the Valley, actually, I did. I had a poem I had written, and there's a line in it called outside the walls of the city, they burn the bodies of the dead.
Mhm.
And that did enter a song before, it was a song. But, it's just one line, though.
Yeah, maybe I thought you did the other way around because you said you are a literary guy first.
Yeah, which I totally realize, the irony in that. But I don't know. I guess I just like I wasn't formally trained. I don't have a music education, and I think I'm well aware of my limitations with in terms of musical ability, and the words don't come until they do, and then they become sacred and they become something that I take a lot of care into editing and things like that. But also just like having a literary background for me at least gives me a lot of fuel to with which to like write. I think it's important to expose yourself to a lot of different kinds of art in different mediums, and if you're going to write songs or create any art,
Mm-hmm.
it's like I think it would be detrimental to my growth if all I did was listen to one genre or, not read books or something.
Yeah. Have you ever written professionally, like
Uh,
outside of music, of course?
Not very much. I've done some
Okay.
translations from Latin into English journals for professors. I've submitted some essays, but nothing like really. No, never published my poetry. Poetry to me has been such a private art. I never really I don't really write poetry with the thought that I'm going to share it with people, which, it'd be nice to, but I don't ever think of it that way. So, and, I'll take things from it and put it into my work as a musician, but if it fits, but no, I haven't really written professionally too much.
Okay.
I don't have any novels. That's for sure.
Okay. But
You know,
I mean, like, it
I
wasn't
don't have a
just
novel
novels.
series
It
out there
could have
waiting to
been
get
like,
a movie rights or something. That
yeah, it could
that'd
have
be
been
great.
like you're in like an anthology. If you like, if you were maybe more like me and came from like the journalism world.
Yeah, yeah. I have my academic side to me, of course, but I haven't really published or anything like that. Um, but no, yeah, I don't have any super professional writing uh, pieces.
That's fair. So I noticed that for for your work, mostly with Voodoo Sister, you have a Patreon, and this might be a little surprising. I haven't encountered too many musicians on this show who use Patreon as a way of monetizing their work. So far the only other one is the only other folk adjacent band I've interviewed, which was 1476. They have a Patreon, which I'm sad I never subscribed to.
Oh,
So how's it been working out for you?
well, Patreon is, I think you have to really keep up with it, I think, and I'm not always great with that, but it's tricky. I don't really look at it as I can't, it's not that much, but like, I just think there's a couple of things. Sure, like make money, but also it's something that helps keep me to be on top of myself with I'll put poems up there or unused artwork or song ideas or like it's tough because I'm not like a well-known artist. So it's like, Emma Ruth Rundle has one.
Hmm.
It's like, but like Emma Ruth Rundle, I can see that makes sense because like, oh yeah, people would want to see if she's working on demos or, has like a blog post or whatever the fuck. And oh, sorry, can I swear on here?
You can swear in here.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Should have asked. But so I'm still kind of navigating that world. It's always tough if you're a working musician, I think, finding different avenues of survival.
Yeah. What do you recommend it to a small time musician?
What do I recommend?
What do you recommend using Patreon as a platform, as a source of income?
I wouldn't recommend it as a source of income unless there's some people who are really good at being diligent and I'm not such a multimedia artist that I feel like it works that well for me.
Mhm.
But I know people who are extraordinary artists. They're great musicians, they're great artists, they're great poets. That's someone who I think can um use Patreon very effectively, but it's like you got to stay motivated. I know a lot of people who do like OnlyFans, for example, and it's like people think it's just like easy, and it's like, no, it's a job. They got to keep up with that, and they got to like constantly be doing that. I mean, we're living in this age. I mean, you got to make content and shit,
Mm-hmm.
and it's pain, and I know a lot of musicians who resist that, and it's just like, well, I mean, I don't blame you, and I don't want to do it, but you kind of have to. It's kind of where you're at, where we're at with this stuff. So, uh,
Yeah, like it can get very soul sucking if you want to play like the modern social media game.
yeah, oh
I
yeah,
I think like I've talked about this with other musicians who like have to post song snippets to like TikTok and Instagram. Like you feel like you're selling your soul for short form content, and then you look at the stats and it does like 10, 100 times better than anything you've posted in the full length version of.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
podcast clips, which I've really been dropping the ball with. They do like I have clips that have gotten more views than like my podcasts as
yeah,
like like all episodes combined have.
yeah.
And
No,
that just takes a
true.
few thousand. It's not I'm not that impressive, but
I mean, it again, what depends what your priorities are. I mean, for me, I had the way I look at it, and this is how what I say to people is like,
mhm,
but what when I'm creating art, when I'm writing a song or whatever, that's my time to be an artist. And
mhm,
I write this stuff purely for my own enjoyment. Like first and foremost, if I'm writing a new song, it isn't for anybody else to like. It's not that I obviously I'm going to share it, but like I'm not thinking about anybody else. I'm thinking about like what makes me excited about it. But once it's done, everything else that comes after to me is just advertisement. I mean, your album cover,
mhm,
your show flyers, your social media stuff. When you do a music video, when you do an interview like this, it's like we're here to promote my. I mean, I've seen people like Charles Grodin go on Johnny clips of Johnny Carson going on there and making fun of like the whole notion that like this is to sell a book or pitch a movie. It's like this isn't really talking. It's like a talk show, for example. It's like
mhm,
and there's nothing wrong with that. That's not an insult. That's just like it's just a meta deconstruction of like what all this stuff is. And like so if you bear that in mind and you just like accept that and you like you make peace with that, you can make fun, you can have fun with it. It's like it's a pain in the ass, but it's like this is to get people to be interested in your work. It's that the art is not your posts on Instagram. That's not art. It's just like
mhm.
this is an advertisement. It's like, hey, this is a clip of the chorus. Check out the song. And you hope they do, but you're right. It's like, oh, usually people will just they'll look on a short form thing and they won't bother to listen to the long version. And
Yeah. And like I know that like I can complain about it here, but I am just as guilty of perpetuating it as an average viewer scrolling through vids on the toilet.
yeah, I mean, I would never pretend that I'm not that I'm immune to it. You
Mhm.
know, but it's just like, no, this is where we're at. It's um but yeah, I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but I mean, honestly, it's never really been different. It's always been something that the artists hate to do. You know, we all missed the 90s, but people my age and older, I guess, but like, it's like, yeah, well, it was bands getting their video on MTV. There's a lot of
Mhm.
bands who hated that, and felt icky about it. So it's like, well,
Yeah.
like you have to adapt. It's like this industry's always changing, and it's like it sucks. Always feels like the game's rigged, and the rules are constantly changing. But like, I don't know. I mean, what industry doesn't suck, honestly?
Yeah. So is there anything that you've wanted to say on a podcast or in any kind of interview, but no one's asked you before?
Mm. I apologize. You asked me that the when we were chatting,
That's fine.
and that's a really good question. And I'm trying to think of something, and I know there's probably stuff that will surface in my brain later. Oh, I should have, thought of that. Something that's interesting. I mean, this doesn't really count because someone did ask me this on the radio, but
Well, we won't tell.
but I was on. Oh God, it was the Lowell, Mass. What was it? Rick's Rock Shop. Um, he commented something interesting about my voice that I feel like I'm aware of this, but I feel like not many people think to ask me. It's like he was like, you know, when I listen to your voice, it sounds like I can't tell if you're a woman or a man sometimes. And I mean, that felt really nice because I think it's something I know. It's not always deliberate, but it also is sometimes that I don't talk about too much. And it was kind of nice to hear someone pick up on that quality about my voice and maybe my music in general. It certainly is a theme, and maybe not overtly, but um, so that was kind of cool. I don't know if there's a question in there, but
Yeah. I mean, I guess there's a comment for me. I guess I noticed the androgynous quality of your voice, but it's also like, I know Keith. I know who he is.
yeah, uh,
Um, but what I do like sometimes is like, you know, I like song sometimes it's really nice to appreciate a song I know I could easily sing along to, and there's always a certain class of deep voiced women and high pitched men that hit that sweet spot for me.
yeah,
Cause like,
gotta love a contralto, man.
yeah, yeah, I always have to say I always thought that about the band Sonia. Because their singer Melissa, she's transgender, but like she has a very good contralto voice. So I'm like, I don't care how you were born, I can sing along to your stuff. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Well, that's funny. It's like, I mean, it in this growing up, I love grunge, but one thing I love is Riot Girl bands, and I love PJ Harvey. She's one of my biggest influences, and a lot of my musical heroes are women, and it's like I always found them more relatable, and even in the grunge stuff, it's like a lot of these bands like Nirvana and stuff were like they were flouting a lot of macho bullshit, and definitely absolutely embraced their kind of more sensitive and feminine side, I guess, or whatever that means. But
Mhm.
definitely, I mean, I'd done an album of songs that I wrote in Latin and Greek, and they're all from the perspectives of women in classical myth, and it's not territory that I haven't tread before. And I've done that in English, where I'm trying to tell stories from a woman's perspective, and it's like people have ideas about it or something. And yeah, I never, when I write, I don't think of myself as like, I'm not trying to write as a male or write from some guy's perspective or macho crap or whatever. Quite the opposite. I hate that stuff. But so it was nice to get that someone recognized that. And, you know, maybe it's not obvious, but whatever. But I do,
Yeah.
but I do have very like, I don't know if you call it a tenor or something, but I don't have a very traditionally masculine voice when I sing, and and I'm aware of that, and I do play with it a lot, and I enjoy that.
Yeah. Because like as someone in metal, like if there's a guy with a really high voice, like usually you expect them to lean into like how extreme they can take it, like King Diamond's falsettos.
Yeah,
Like no, not many men can hit those notes. I can't hit those notes.
I mean I can't either,
Yeah. Yeah.
but just
But
like for
yeah.
me, it's more of a timbre rather than what my octaves or range is, or what my range is. Um, but
Yeah. I think it's a very human way. It's a very human thing. Like you use the voice that comes naturally to you, and I wouldn't call like being in touch with your feelings being in touch with your feminine side. We all have feelings.
well, yeah, of course, because it's like that's such a dichotomous reduction, I think, to like insist that being sensitive is considered womanly or something. That's like very human, like, yeah, on head. But I love challenging what's expected, I think. And I mean, I think I'm fairly conventional in a lot of ways, like, I don't know, but at the same time I try to find ways that are maybe subtly subverse that.
Yeah. Um, are you the person who designed your merch table?
Yes.
Yeah. I will say like that that merch table looked like a bisexual Wiccan. um put her best foot forward. I loved it, by the way.
Well, I grew up with a grandmother who was a Sicilian strega, like a witch.
Ooh, okay.
Who did start the first coven of witches in St. Louis, Missouri, when she moved out there in the 80s. So I don't know. It runs in the family.
No, that's crazy. Why didn't we lead into the interview with that? Once again, thank you, Keith, for coming on the show. Follow Voodoo Sister on social media, especially if you live in Rhode Island or southern Massachusetts. If you're there and you like his music, then boy, there are ample opportunities for a Voodoo Sister show near you. We are friends on Facebook, and Keith recently shared a status claiming to be an apostate to rock and roll. And maybe to rock and roll, but to me, he's a bro. He's welcome in the metal scene in my head, and it's a far more open field than most think it is. Anyways, I'm Theo Morgan, and have a good night. Cool. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, honestly.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts?
Oh, final thoughts. Our moment of zen. I don't know. I guess I should announce some shows coming up. I know this Saturday I'm going to be at the Deadwick Emporium. It's like this sort of like summer Halloween event with vendors and other artists, and that's at Free Art Space in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And then I'll be in Salem at Moonbase, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think in the early afternoon. I'll be there on Sunday, the 17th.
Are you playing alone or with others?
I'll be solo for these. I think my next band show is going to be September 14th at Myrtle in East Providence.
Nice.
And also, we have 2 new songs out, Magic Powers and The Valley. They're both off of our new album we recorded. The next song will be called Lilith. It's going to be out September, right before my birthday, September 23rd.
All right. So. Yeah. You get the podcasters' thumbs up of approval. Those are some good tracks.
Thanks so much.
And check out the Voodoo Sister back catalog.
Yeah. Latin and Greek, we got some.
Yeah, use that Bandcamp buy entire discography button.
Yeah,
it saved me some time.